here we go. All right, guys. Tech Tuesday number 4. We got some special stuff. I'm going to tell you the theme of this Tech Tuesday. There's a lot of beefs happening. I didn't choose that. I wasn't trying to fit it to that, but that's just kind of what happened. I'll just get ready for that. I think the biggest thing is we have, for the first time in like over a couple thousand years, we have a math patch update. So originally it was 1 times 1 equals 1, but now there's a potential patch. It might be that 1 times 1 actually equals 2. So I'll love to get into that later on. I'm giving you that teaser. Okay, so get ready for that. So the very first real text thing, not like a teaser, the actual real thing, is talking about our favorite channel here. And if you're a nerd, you'll probably like this channel. We have Veritasium, classic guy. Derek made a new video with this as the thumbnail, which I think that's a great thumbnail. We're actually just gonna watch a couple minutes in this video to explain. So real quickly, I'm gonna pull up the YouTube video. Here we go. Why people prefer more pain.
We're replicating a psychological experiment about perceptions of discomfort. This is a bucket of cold water. You're gonna put your hand in and you're gonna keep it in there for a duration that we won't tell you. As it's in the water, you can rate your discomfort on this scale. If basically you're at the point where like, I am in agony, let me take my hand out of here, you can dial it up to that.
I'm replicating an experiment originally conducted by Daniel Kahneman and Barbara Fredrickson in 1993. Half of the participants were randomly assigned to use their left hand first, the other half used their right hand first. They indicated in real time how much discomfort they were experiencing.
Quick short tangent, but I think it's really it's kind of interesting that like the only way we know how to figure out pain tolerance is very subjective. It's just asking someone, just doing the same thing on different people and asking them how much it hurts on a scale from 1 to 10. That definition of pain just not satisfactory to me. You know, I don't know, just the way you can't quantify it really just like really bugs me.
At the end of the trial, I told them to pull their hand out and give an overall rating for the experience.
About a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to swim in that.
Then they took a 15-minute break before returning to submerge their other hand.
It started to feel like I can't feel my hand now, something like that.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing, of course.
What participants didn't know is that the 2 trials were different. They started out the same, one hand submerged in 14 degrees Celsius water for 60 seconds, and one of the trials ended there. But the other trial lasted an additional 30 seconds. During that time, the water temperature increased slightly to 15 degrees Celsius. The ultimate question was, if I were to ask you to repeat one of those 2 experiences, which would you choose?
Chat, what do you think they're gonna say?
Probably the left hand. Yes. Yes.
You'd do that first one again.
Yeah, I think so.
In our small-scale replication, 7 out of 12 people said they would rather repeat the longer trial.
I don't think that's good odds. I feel like that's not significant at all.
In the Kahneman and Fredrickson study, this preference was even stronger.
I would hope so.
70% of their participants preferring the
That's much better.
longer trial. That is the same trial that they, in real time, indicated was painful for a longer time.
All right, so what was the main point of this study? There are 2 major discoveries. The first one is this. Memory doesn't make films, it makes photographs. So basically, whenever we remember something, we don't actually remember the full thing. We usually just remember like a snapshot of it, or like one specific moment or event during it. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing, when you really remember, what are those images? The main images you remember are basically like keyframes or like key moments. And the key moments tend to be just the peak moment in the experience and the end. And I think the way they figure that out is that, so let's say you had 2 different, you figured it out in the experiment, right? Because even though the one of them was longer, you know, it wasn't as painful as the shorter one. So because of that, the snapshot they're remembering was something that wasn't as painful as the shorter one. So that's why they prefer it in general, which is a really cool, interesting result. So another conclusion they had from the original study is that they actually recommended that at the end of a painful surgery, they add like a couple minutes to the end of the surgery that's like slightly less painful than like the original surgery. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. It just slightly less painful. So like I think the example they use was like you're doing like a colon surgery or whatever, and then the last couple minutes of the surgery they don't take out like a tool at the very end. They leave it in for a couple minutes because it's going to hurt a little bit, but not as much as the surgery itself. And then I think it showed when they did that, the people actually enjoyed, well, I shouldn't say enjoyed, preferred that one, the longer one, over the shorter one, because the ending and the snapshot of it, and they weren't just thinking about the crazy pain, they were thinking about the at the end where it was less painful too. So I think a lot of other surgeries now add that. So yeah, that's like that's why I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah. I think another example he uses directly in the video is everyone's favorite example, Game of Thrones. This used to be the biggest show of all time at one point. When people think about Game of Thrones, they only think about two things. They remember its peaks, the red weddings, the purple weddings, Tyrion's trial, the Ned's death, you know, spoilers for Game of Thrones. If you haven't already seen it yet, like what are you doing? Okay. People either remember those things or the end. And when they remember the end, they don't even want to think about it anymore. This should be the top show of all time, the thing people talked about all the time, and now nobody talks about it. So yeah, this one study was pretty applicable to a lot of things that you don't really think about. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. So I thought it was a great video. My only problem was that before I watched the video, I had to do something I don't like doing. I had to watch an ad. And you guys may think that's not that bad, right? But my roommate had this funniest quote. I still laugh about it. We had to watch like up 2 minutes of ads, right? And then he was like complaining the whole time. And then after he watched the video, he said, I think this is the most amount of ads I've ever seen in the past 5 years. I thought about that. I was like, it might be true. If you don't have freedom or ad blocker or something, I think that might be true. Ads are everywhere. People don't like ads, but if it's a free model, the only way we really know to pay for it is with ads. So it's like something we've learned to live with. But I don't know about you, but like I think some of these ads might be just getting a little crazy. It's making me real unhappy. I'm not happy, Bob. Because of this situation, we're getting into our first beef. YouTube versus Adblock. Yes. So what is going on? If you guys aren't aware of the continual beef between YouTube and Adblock, I'll give you guys a brief rundown of the history. YouTube wants to stop Adblock. You know, people watch the video, people pay money to put their ads on very popular videos. YouTube gets some of that money, the creator gets some of that money. That's how that works. YouTube obviously wants to stop ad blockers because Adblock's whole plan is to just stop ads from playing, which makes the creators and YouTube make less money. Creators tend to not care because they also have sponsorships or Patreon or something or other ways to make money, but YouTube's bread and butter is ads, so they do not like this. So what happens next? People get mad for a few days because YouTube does this new crazy thing that prevents the current ad blocker from doing what it wants to do. I get kind of mad because then it's like, turn off your ad blocker. We won't play any videos unless you turn off your ad blocker. And then Adblock updates within a few days and rinse and repeat. And this, in my experience, has been happening for the past like 2 or 3 years. So my thing is, if you really don't want to watch ads on YouTube, you won't watch ads on YouTube. That's what I'm trying to get at. And YouTube, it really seems like is having this like Streisand effect. If you don't know the Streisand effect, the more you talk about something, the more you say people don't look at this or don't do this, don't look at ad blocker, don't look it up, the more people are going to look it up. As YouTube keeps getting news and more press about trying to suppress ad blockers, it only makes more people aware of what an ad blocker is. Look at how many people use ad blocker, you know, in 2012 versus 2023. I know I don't like how it goes from like Q1 to Q4 to whatever either. The title was random quarters. So it kind of makes me feel like you chose these specific ones on purpose to show a trend. From other stuff I've heard, I think this is the trend. So yeah, that's the first beef that's going on. I'll give you a brief history. So yeah, that's what's going on there. 2 weeks ago, Apple's conference, World Developers Conference 2024. What were the big insights that I found? I think there are 2 important things I want to talk about. First thing is, in the future, your apps will now be able to, you'll be able to perfectly point where you want your apps are. They won't immediately go on the next line and then like that. You can choose where you want them to go. You Android watchers are probably like, what the heck? We've had this for years. And yeah. So next thing is Apple says, we're Apple. We do our own thing. We're ahead of the curve. Okay, artificial intelligence, we don't do that here. We have Apple intelligence. We don't do artificial intelligence. We're not artificial. We do Apple intelligence. So you might say, what is Apple intelligence, Aries? What is it? What is this special thing? Well, after really combing through the whole video and just researching all of Apple, I think I finally figured out what Apple Intelligence is. It's ChatGPT with an Apple logo. That's really all it is. Okay. But Aries, is it really just ChatGPT with Apple logo? Yes. Okay. And let me tell you why. Apple tried to make their own AI. When ChatGPT came out and Microsoft bought ChatGPT, Apple's like, oh shit, we actually gotta do shit now. Okay. VR headset. And they're like, okay, but what if we told you it costs 7 times as much as Meta's, and arguably it might be worse in some ways? And they're like, no. So now Apple is even talking about the VR headset, which is kind of hilarious. So what they ended up doing is they made a deal with ChatGPT to basically make it so for moving forward, all Apple phones will have ChatGPT installed on their iPhones. Really good for Apple. Apple Intelligence might as well just be ChatGPT with an Apple logo, in my opinion. Those are key updates. You're like, Aries, it's a couple hours long. Are those really the key updates? In my opinion, yes. So you guys just heard me yap for a couple minutes about Apple Intelligence this, Apple Intelligence that. But for now, we'll shorten it to just AI. So AI this, AI that. I bet some of you might have been thinking, I will fucking pile driver you if you mention AI again. Which is, I think it's a sentiment that a lot of people are really thinking about. I really think it's really like getting out of hand here. Every day we can just get a new AI product over and over and over again. And the article is really funny. I think you guys should read it. It made me laugh a couple times. It also has a lot of truth behind it. And I think I'm just going to read out the conclusion for you guys because I think it's really emblematic of the vibe and like what they were trying to say. So they have these chapters, you know, and the whole idea of the chapters is that they would like, they would address common sayings that people would use about AI. So this was like, oh, so you're one of those AI pessimists, you know, and they're saying, with God as my witness, you grotesque simpleton. If you don't personally write machine learning systems and you open your mouth about AI one more time, I'm going to mail you a brick and a piece of paper with a prompt injection telling you to bludgeon yourself in the face with it. Then just sit back and wait for you to load it into ChatGPT because you probably can't read unassisted anymore. And I don't know if I really say that in particular, but all I'm going to say is I understand where they're coming from. I was really trying to think about it, why I'm really starting to not like AI anymore. I think the main problem I'm running into is I really think that the like AI buzzword is really the same exact feeling I have about the crypto buzzword. Like, remember when crypto came out, everyone was like, oh my God, it's a new innovative technology. You can actually do a lot with it. And now it's just seen as like, just as the meme. I really think that's going to be the same thing with, well, AI already has like more utility, but the way the buzzword is being used right now, right? It really feels like the same, where it's like you just put the word AI at the end of something and then it's like, oh, ooh. And it's like stuff that doesn't even make any sense. It's like a restaurant. We're a restaurant AI? And it's like, oh, it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Why do you need this? I don't know. If you want like a really good chatbot, you need a lot of information to make it good. So like, I don't know, some smaller ones make more sense if you want to be more specific in use case. But my experience, it never feels like they're being specific with their use cases. It's like they kind of want to just try to make it the AI that works for everything. And if you want to go that way, like, I feel like only these mega companies can only do it. But even these mega companies are kind of like having some problems. Google Gemini is like their, you know, attempt to try to do ChatGPT. And here's an example of what something spouted out. Basically, it's just, can I have used garlic into olive oil without heating it up? That was the question. And then it has this response. Yes, you can infuse garlic into olive oil without heating it. It will take longer than the heating method, but the process is simple. The method allows the garlic to slowly release its flavor into the oil without the risk of burning or altering taste. On its face, that seems fine to me. The only problem is that what the user realized is that this would have killed them. So Google Gemini tried to kill me. I followed these steps, but just so happened to check on the mason jar 3 to 4 days in and saw tiny carbonation bubbles rapidly rising throughout. Turned out I just grew botulism culture and garlic and olive oil specifically is a very common way to grow this biotoxins. Prompt with care and never trust AI, dear people. Obviously, there's a ChatGPT sub. They're probably anti-Gemini, pro-ChatGPT, but still, in my experience, I've heard stories that Google Gemini gives interesting responses. I'm just gonna say that. And they're not the only big like company doing it. I've heard big companies do it, but I've also heard of dying companies trying to use it to really boost their company back up. The example I have right now is Toys R Us made an ad almost entirely with AI. It's a sign of how far tech has come and where it could go. They say that. What I say is Toys R Us is a kind of a failing company a little bit, and really think part of the reason they did this is actually get their name out there again, because I totally forgot about Toys R Us before I read this. The AI they use is Sora AI, which if you don't know Sora, I think it's OpenAI's, text to video prompt user, service. So I actually want to check the AI advertisement that they made and check it out with you guys.
The son of a bike shop owner, Charles Lazarus, had a vision that would go on to change toy stores forever.
The greatest toy store there is. I don't wanna grow up, 'cause maybe if I did, I wouldn't be a Toys R Us.
Toys R Us was the dream of Charles Lazarus. May all of your dreams come true too.
All right. I had some thoughts about that. The main thought I had is, did you guys know that the giraffe was like the mascot for Toys R Us? Because I did not know that. Second thing that really made me have like a wah moment is the Lazarus guy. He's the founder of Toys R Us, and that's why there's the R Us, Laz R Us, that's his name. So I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I know I'm not the target demo, I guess, for children's toys, I guess. I don't know. I like it. I do feel a little bit of sympathy for Toys R Us, who wants to play with, a car when you can play with an iPhone that can simulate a car and do 10,000 other things. I get it, but I don't know. I didn't like that. Maybe you guys did. I didn't like it too much. I'm not liking the AI stuff, and a lot of other people aren't liking the AI stuff. So what we're getting to is, are you guys ready? Boom, 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 boom. Beef number 2. Yeah, you guys, I almost forgot about the beefs. I didn't forget. AI versus the entire music industry. Or more specifically, not AI versus the music industry. BBL Drizzy versus the entire music industry. If you guys don't know what BBL Drizzy is, I'm just going to play it. Why is this a thing? This is a real song to give an update on the people who somehow have been living under a rock for the past 3 months, I guess. Kendrick versus Drake was probably the biggest rap beef that happened in probably my generation. It's usually accepted that, Drake is the most popular rapper, while Kendrick Lamar is more talented, probably the most talented rapper currently right now. They had a huge beef. A lot of people don't like Drake. They did a lot of crazy stuff, crazy allegations, including beating up your wife and having a second secret kid. Yes, a second secret kid. This happened supposedly, allegedly twice. Throughout this beef, though, somebody released BBL Drizzy, where we got the iconic Drake tweet, "Yo, did you just make a song about my ass?" There are a lot of allegations that Drake has a lot of surgeries, BBL, fake abs, fake hair, etc., etc. So BBL Drizzy. So the crazy part about this song is that apparently, which I didn't know when it was made, but this song is AI. This is an AI song made by Udio. So if you don't know what Udio is, it's very similar to Suno. If you don't know, Suno is another AI music generation tool. You type in what type of song you want and it just makes the song. If you guys have not used some of these before, you guys should really check them out. They're really crazy. I had a lot of fun using it, just testing it out. Now the music industry, obviously, I think for obvious reasons, doesn't like the idea that you can just train your models off already established artists and then you can just make songs just like the artists in fractions of the time. And by the music industry, I mean mainly the artists. So what happened was the following. The Recording Industry Association of America filed 2 copyright infringement cases against AI companies Suno and Arnterra Labs, the developer behind Udio, for training their AI models to labels unlicensed sound recordings, specifically for BBL Drizzy. So yeah, we're gonna see where that goes. I read in the article too that I think it was 2,000 artists, or 20,000. It was a lot of fucking artists. all agreed that like they wanted like a something in their contract that said AI won't be used in the future, very similar sounding to like the Writers Guild demands that they wanted, but that only lasted for a couple years. You had to re-up on that again, so we'll see how that goes. I've talked a lot about AI during this. And like one thing I really want to establish is that technology is not AI. Okay, I feel like people when they only think of new tech, they only think of AI now, which I think is really bad. I think there's actual cool new tech that's actually happening that just really gets overshadowed whenever some AI buzzword gets called out. I want to say that AI is a subset of technology and not the actual technology itself. So I'm actually going to talk about some of the new tech, new science stuff that's actually been happening. I think it's really interesting that really needs to get highlighted a little more. So NASA, okay. NASA, you already know, they're gonna do cool shit. I love NASA. You already know who they are. You know, they send people to the moon, allegedly, you know. Another cool space company, SpaceX, with their Falcon Heavy rocket right here. Yeah, SpaceX, really cool. Made self-landing rockets. I still think that's one of the coolest fucking videos I've ever seen. There was a launch with NASA today. Their whole mission was actually to send a weather satellite into space to actually collect better data, you know, for forecasting and predicting the weather. I actually have the link of the launch play for you guys. Ignore this random guy on stream. I like his, I didn't know this guy before this, but you know, he seems to have a lot of knowledge on rocket ships in general, way more than me, so.
3, 2, 1. Liftoff of GOES-U, NOAA's newest weather satellite, to monitor the Earth and Sun in high definition. Max Q.
Oh man, that's so fucking cool.
Falcon Heavy is supersonic.
Traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Anyway, yeah. I know we all have our differences, but can we all agree this is really fucking cool? That humans are able to build that. And can I just say space in general, it's just so cool. Just so cool. Like, oh my god. If I could just go to space, I know I won't, you know, what's the whole meme? It's all like too late to discover the Earth, born too early to go to space. If I could, that'd be so fun. And another way I think it's also cool that we know more about space than we know about our oceans, which is kind of crazy. I had another crazy fact, but this next article I read was really kind of crazy. Dyson spheres were theorized as a way to detect alien life. Scientists say they found potential evidence. So some of you might say aliens. What is going on? I think to really explain what a Dyson sphere is, I really have to explain a couple of concepts and just aliens in general. I just gotta explain a couple of things. So the first thing I gotta explain is the Drake equation. The Drake equation basically goes into this. It's an equation to estimate the number of detectable civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy. If you put in these parameters, it should give you estimation how many alien civilizations are out there. So the way you do this is the rate of a star formation times the fraction of stars at planetary systems times the number of habitable planets per solar system times the fraction of habitable planets that host life times the fraction of a life that's intelligent times fraction of intelligent life that develops technology to communicate its existence time average length of time civilizations are detectable. Essentially, if you put the numbers in, reasonable estimates in, which seem to be 10 stars per year, pretty much 100% stars have planetary systems times about 25% of habitable planets per solar system. About 100% of habitable planets host life. About 1% of those have intelligent life, because we have a lot of life on our planet. It's not intelligent life, right? And about 50% of the intelligent life will figure out how to communicate its existence, which is about just radios, figure out how radios work. And then they're about an average civilization to be detectable is about 1 million years. So when you put this all in, you get about 12,500 intelligent alien civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy, which really gives you the question of, if that's really true, where are they? Why haven't we seen any of them? Yeah, but we haven't seen a lot of aliens. Potential explanations are that we just got some of these variables wrong. Maybe it's harder to make life than we really think it is. Maybe intelligent life is just really rare. We just don't know about it. It's called the Fermi paradox. Another explanation is the Great Filter, is that for whatever reason, it's really hard for civilizations to go on for a very long time. Maybe, you know, the great filter could be that like we have to get over some hump in order to just get to this point. Or maybe, you know, people do get to where we're at and they like kind of kill themselves in the process for whatever reason, you know, through nukes or AI or something. I don't know. Then there's, you know, the dark forest hypothesis, just basically like there are aliens out there, but they're all hiding from one another, because if you reveal yourself, there's always a chance that a more advanced civilization would come and get you. So they're all hiding. These are all reasonable explanations. What I do know is that if there are aliens out there, I think everyone would reasonably say that I think it'd be very egotistical to say that we'd be the smartest ones. I think if you truly believe aliens exist, you must also agree that like some of these aliens are going to be mega mind compared to us. Like some of these aliens are going to be much smarter than us. There's actually a way to actually define how much smarter, how far ahead in technology a civilization compared to another one. So it's called a Kardashev scale. So basically there are different types of civilizations. And it's based off of how much energy you use. So type 1 civilization means that your civilization uses 100% of the energy on your planet. A type 2 civilization says you use that plus 100% of the energy from your sun. Type 3 civilization says you use all the energy within your galaxy, including black holes and all the suns and all the planets in your galaxy. Then type 4 is the same thing, but for the universe. So I think Earth is about a 0.72. We use more than half the energy on Earth, but we could be doing a little more. So why am I saying this? It's because the idea is that if you want to get like to a higher level, if you're going to need more energy to just do cool shit. And to become a type 2 civilization, get all the energy from a planet, you need to make this hypothetical device called a Dyson sphere. And the whole idea of it is you just basically put a bunch of solar panels around the sun and just beam that directly to Earth. And you would theoretically just get pretty much infinite power. Of course, the problem is, you know, making a Dyson sphere. If you want to make a Dyson sphere, it's almost like you already need a Dyson sphere to get an amount of energy to make a Dyson sphere, right? So that's really hard to do. This is what it would take to become a type 2 civilization. A lot of really smart people, smarter than me, all agree that like this would be the natural next step for all advanced civilizations to do. Like this isn't even like a maybe. Like if you get advanced enough, you would do this eventually. Going back to our article, Dyson spheres were theorized as a way to detect alien life. Scientists say they found potential evidence. So my thing is like, cool, you found evidence of aliens, but you also found potentially 7 Dyson spheres. That sounds pretty fucking crazy if true, which I don't think it's probably true. But, you know, it's good to dream. So he said there's no conclusive evidence that the 7 stars have Dyson spheres around them. Difficult for us to find an explanation for these sources because we don't have enough data to prove what is real cause of the infrared glow. They could be Dyson spheres because they behave like our models predict, but they could be something else as well. So there are a bunch of explanations as to why they saw these 7 potential Dyson sphere-like planets. I'm not going to hold my breath, but cool to dream. Hope you learned something about Dyson spheres too. I realize that if aliens do come though, I really want them to talk to smart people. What do you guys think? Do you think we should send our best or our most like average person to give them a good indication of how what we're actually like? Because we send our smartest, like our best and brightest, right? Maybe they have like too much of like an over expectation of us. I think we need someone both. Someone who just like is a man of the people, like represents like who we aspire to be, but is also a really Giga Chad smart person. And while these people on screen right now are known throughout history as some of the smartest people, I think there's only one other person I can think of who I just gotta say it, is way smarter than all these guys potentially combined, which is why I gotta say I would want Terrence Howard to be the guy. And if you guys don't know Terrence Howard, how do I describe the man, the myth, the legend? He's mainly an actor. That's where he came from. He was, if you don't know, he was originally War Machine, you know, supposed to be what Don Cheadle was, Rhodey, in the Iron Man movies. This is actually his iconic scene in Iron Man.
Next time, baby.
There wasn't a next time.
So as you all know, if you know the Iron Man movies, watch any Marvel stuff at all, you should know that he did not become War Machine. They were replaced him with Don Cheadle, a guy who just, they didn't even try to get a guy who looked like him. So I didn't actually know how intelligent he was. I thought he was a run-of-the-mill actor. After he went on the Joe Rogan podcast, I really didn't realize the untapped potential. So I have a few clips I want to show to really give you guys an idea of what we've been missing out on. Here we go. We have we're going to react to an Asmongold reaction of the JRE clip. And you might say, why didn't you just get the original clip? Well, would you believe me if I said it would be easier to find the Asmongold reaction?
When you say rebuild the periodic table, what do you mean specifically?
Well, the way the periodic table is laid out, the periodic table they have now,
Let's see
it
the
looks
periodic
it looks
table.
like a
Pull up.
box, but they don't show that hydrogen has the same tone as carbon.
What do you mean by tone?
Same tone, same key of E. Same key of E, 40.5 hertz. The next one would be like 81 hertz. You go to silicon, it will double up and would be 162 hertz. All you have to do is keep dividing light by 2. You keep dividing light by 2, and you'll ultimately get back to the audible sound of it.
Of course.
As you reach into the next octave, the carbon octave, and they call that a bisexual tone. If you want to break water into its component parts of hydrogen and oxygen,
The
all you have to do is
bisexual
introduce
tone.
beryllium, or the sound of beryllium, and oxygen will violently break away from any other thing, even hydrogen, to bond with that beryllium.
So yeah, the bisexual lighting, it's all coming together. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense to me now. So yeah, so that clip obviously makes a lot of sense. So we also have this other one, which I think really sums up what really put him on the map, though.
What's 1 times 1?
1 times 1 is 1.
See, that's his first mistake. He's not aware of the patch update.
To multiply means to do what? To make more, right?
Yes.
Increase in number,
Yes.
multiply.
Yes.
How can 1 times 1 equaling 1 be part of the multiplication table? It fails to satisfy the term multiply.
See, it's so simple, right? But then you just think about it and you're like, of course. Why didn't I think of that?
What's an action times an action?
You got some weed.
No, I'm asking you. Honestly,
I just don't
I'm
get it.
asking you. Reason.
Parents say just don't get it.
Reason. I want you to reason.
I want you to
What's
reason.
an action times an action? A reaction. Right? Have you
See,
ever
some
seen
may
an
say
action-
action squared, but you know, I'm not on that level yet. That's why that's my first reaction.
There's always an action times an action having a reaction. So how can 1 times 1 equal 1? How can A times B just be A? It's a basic
Terrence, these
variable.
are late night conversations.
These
bro.
are no. These
Yeah,
are.
they are.
This is the beginning of our understanding.
It's beginning
It
of
should fit.
a new
What
math.
kind of calculator you got? What kind of phone you got?
It's an iPhone.
Okay, go to your calculator.
I
Go
got
to
it.
it too. You got iPhone?
What are we doing?
I want both of y'all to do 2 separate things. Separate things. I want you to multiply it by 2, hit times 2, equal. Don't you do it?
Okay.
And I want you to hit x to the third. X to the third. It's going to be the
Times
third-
3?
No, x to the third.
Oh, X. Oh, okay. I see it.
X to the third.
Yeah, I got you. All right. 1.1.
No. Go back again.
Okay,
You
so
keep
now-
yours where you are.
All right. 2.82. Yeah.
By multiplying it by 2.
Yeah.
And he just cubed it. Divide it by 2 again. Both of y'all. Divide by 2.
Divide it by 2.
No, divide by 2. Hit equal. Now, cube it again. Hit x to the third.
Yeah.
You see that loop?
Yeah.
That's saying x cubed is equal to 2x, which is equal to x plus x. That's an unnatural equation. That's a mathematical fallacy. And that's the beginning of your math. That's how I invented tangential flight, because your math, someone...
I'm sorry. I can't do what the fuck. So, yes, his new math is all based off the idea that it's weird that that square root of 2 cubed is the same as 2 root 2. Of course, it's the same thing. This is a hard thing to grasp. Root 2 cubed is the same as root 2 times root 2 times root 2. Root 2 times root 2 is just 2. 2 times root 2 is not a crazy thing for what I don't understand. It really feels like he's just discovering math for the first time. He's like, what? I know I joked, but guys, I'm gonna be honest. I know we like to point a laugh, but I know he's gonna actually convince some people, which I actually don't like. I really don't like misinformation being spread. We get to our third beef: Terrence Howard versus Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yes, scientists be scientists. So if you guys don't know what happened, Terrence Howard actually sent his paper to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Neil deGrasse Tyson had the privilege to go over it. Now, on Joe Rogan, apparently Terrence was saying that he didn't really give it a good chance. You just roasted me, stuff like that. We're actually going to watch what he actually said. He gives a summary at the start about what he said that I think really good. His main theory is that there's a Dunning-Kruger effect going on. You know, if you don't know, the Dunning-Kruger effect is the idea that if you know very little about a subject, you actually think you know a lot about the subject. And then you have this period where you're like, oh, fuck, I really don't know anything. And then you like learn more and then actually truly become a genius. But this is how he summarizes his paper.
This is an ambitious work that is a clear indication of a restless, active
That's really kind. That's really kind.
mind. Within these pages, however, there are many assumptions and statements that are underinformed, misinformed, or simply false, thereby compromising or nullifying many of the subsequent conclusions you have drawn. That's exactly what should happen in a peer review out of respect for one another's intellect. It opens with a quote from Terence. It can never occur that the square root of a given number, when added to itself, is greater than the initial number squared, for that would expose a loose thread within the fabric of our understanding.
So just obviously that's not true. If you square numbers less than 1, they get smaller. It's a known thing, whatever. But anyway, I think that first statement is very true. I think what he's well, yeah, it's very true, but it also seems very just kind, you know? He's like, hey, you very care about math a lot, but a lot of this is just incorrect. I'm sorry. I think that's very fair. You know, he could have just not read it at all, not giving you any feedback at all, just like said this is stupid and just, you know, been like, I'm not gonna entertain this. But I think that's really fair. They did. Terrence obviously didn't like that, but I think we actually have some writings from Terrence Howard that I think we're just gonna look at. So his main claim to fame was this, that 1 × 1 = 2. And I think we're just gonna look at the paper real quick to figure out how he got to this conclusion. Here we go. There's a proof to the world that science and mathematics that 1 × 1 = 2. Just gonna read this first page. Unbalanced equation argument. 1 × 1 doesn't equal 1 = 2 by Terrence Howard. First and foremost, let's ask the most obvious question. Is this a finished equation? Yes or no? The answer is no. Let us start our forensic audit there. It is, why there's a grammatical mistake? It is a complete equation. Why? Because not even on both sides. Yes, nature desires actions, but demands equilibrium. What does that mean? Therefore, in order for an equation to be finished as complete on both sides of the equation, it must be equally balanced. In the case of 1 × 1 = 1, we have an unfinished equation. Don't know about that because we have 2 1s on one side of the equation and 1 on the other side. Let's first attempt to balance this equation by first making sense of its relative factors. Okay, so that's A, B, C. Remember the basic laws of common sense. It's always great when you write a paper and or an argument at all, always try to appeal to common sense. That's always a great sign, not a fallacy at all. It's not like our common sense has changed throughout many decades or centuries. If A times B equals C, then C must be some product of A and B. That is correct. Yeah, in order for 1 × 1 = 1, the value of either A or B has to be missing from the final product C. Don't know how you got that conclusion. Let's not jump the gun just yet. Now let's try to add 1 on both sides of the equation. 1 × 1 + 1 = 1 + 1. So 1 + 1 × 1 = 2. That is correct to me. Yeah, that looks good to me. Associative and commutative laws of plus 3 = 2. That is not how that works. I really don't know what he did here, but I don't know how I got that. Then 1 equals, then 1 is added to itself 1 time, you get 2. Now add +1 on both sides, you get 3 = 2. Guys, if you don't already know, I majored in CS and math, and I guess all I can say is you learn something new every day, you know? I guess I just missed that day in math. Even though I missed that day in math, I'm glad to say you guys didn't miss another great episode of Tech Tuesday. Like, follow, and subscribe if you like that, and thank you for watching. I'll be here for questions. That's been Tech Tuesday number 4, or in other words, the math patch update 1 × 1 = 2.